Welcome to the channel for mixed media paintings, assemblages, art journals and more. Hi all, it's Bea from Bea Groups Mixed Media and More. Today I want to recycle some parts from our kitchen remodeling. We had a little shelf with those boards. It's actually an MDF which is coated on both sides with the white stuff. Don't know what it is in English. You know what I mean. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna sand it slightly so that it accepts the glue and paint and whatnot more easily. I use a simple sanding block. Next I want to drill some holes at the top because I want to use some wire to make the hanging device. And I put on the tape so when I do drill it doesn't, it gives a nice clean hole instead of those kind of raggedy holes. And on the same time I can measure out and mark where I want the holes. I want them somewhat symmetrical if I can help. So I'm using the Martha Stewart Gesso primer, whatever Gesso you have, it doesn't matter for this because I'm gonna cover it up anyway. Some Gessos are more grainy than the others, so that's also kind of personal preference what you like. But for the moment the reason for using Gesso is to having good grip because it is a slick surface, so I want to make sure that I have for the paint and for the tissue paper something to grab on. So now that the gesso is dry, I want to add this tissue paper. And I actually want it a little bit crumpled, just for fun, just to add some texture. And thinking. I think we're gonna have to piece it together. Okay. The small one should be enough. It is the Liquitex Basic Matte Fluid Medium. I'm mostly interested in the text part. I'm not so keen for this L'Arc de Triomphe. So while my background is drying, I'm working on some old ephemera pages from an old dictionary. I have planned to add a sunflower to my panel, to my mini canvas. So I'm gonna play with wax crayons and acrylic paint. And I don't know how much I exactly need, but I think 2 pages should be enough. I just glue them together and treat them as 1 page. I'm just gonna add scribbles, no rhyme, no reason, just playing. Before I can go on, I want to remove the overhang. It is dry now, so you simply can file it back. Oops, yeah, this part isn't glued really. See here? So I'm just gonna file it back because I'm gonna go anyway over again. I want a rather interesting background, multi-layer background as usual. You know me by now, I love layers. So, okay. Get rid of that. And my next step is gonna be, I have this stencil, which I think is a kind of a bamboo, and I think I like it somewhat like that. And I'm gonna use gesso again. I could use white instead, but I have gesso already on hand. I mean white acrylic paint, because I'm gonna go over afterwards with the blue acrylic paint. So, but gesso is always on my table, so I easily can grab for it, and that needs quite a bit, I think. Yep, liking it. So I decided to go over with the iridescent gold from Pibeo and a tiny bit of burnt umber, and again I'm simply mixing it directly on the paper. Add another yellow, again from Pibeo. While the pages are drying, I'm working on a little bit more on the background. I'm using 3 different blues. One is a folk art. Doesn't say what kind of blue. Oh, here. Coastal blue. The other is a matte steel blue. It's really very matte and very covering. And here is a little bit of Goya pale turquoise. It's pretty much at the end, so let's see what I still can squeeze out. Well, doesn't look too good. Let's see. there's still some in. I know. Well, okay. That's probably again more than what I wanted, but oh well. And a little bit of the matte. And I'm just adding brush strokes, changing directions. So if you can see, I go like this, 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 this. I'm not going for an even coat. I want some texture. Just for fun, I'm gonna scratch in some lines. And I even grab a paper and try to peel off some. Yep. That's what I have picked up. Now you can save that for another project if you like. So I'm back, everything is dry, and my next step is, okay, first I'm gonna punch the holes just so that I don't forget it. Where is my pokey tool? Pokey tool. Okay, I have planned to have the sunflower somewhat like here, and I need something round, which is big enough, and I think that might work. I need sort of a guideline. Let's pretend the center is here. I know you barely can see it, I just did make a line. I'm gonna use that, should work. So the typical about sunflower is that the center is much bigger than the leaves itself. So I'm probably gonna have the flower petals about around here. And finding my center, it is about here. You know, you get the idea. Because I want to work in the diagonal, so my first petal is gonna go something like that. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay, just a guideline. And now my papers come in play. I don't like the part where there is no text. So I'm going to tear that off. There is no text here either. Off you go. And there are two ways. You can either cut them out or tear them out, whatever you prefer. And I think I'm gonna make two at once. So I start with something like that and then just tear it in shape. And that's what I'm gonna have here. Two at once. Working my way to the center, and it's a very fragile paper, so it isn't really hard to tear them in shape. Yep, looking good. So I'm probably going to speed up the process here and even going to edit out some parts. I don't make you watch me tearing all the petals. That seems kind of boring. Okay, that's going to be the first round. I'm going to do like 2 rows. And I'm going to use the matte fluid medium from Liquitex, the basic. So before I add the next round, I go around, or actually I'm gonna cut first the leftovers, the hangovers, and then I'm gonna go around with the Micron 003 in sepia color. Just make sure it's not quite dry yet. I have to dry it a little bit more. I think now I'm ready. So whenever you use those pens, make sure that the acrylic paint and the mediums are dry, or you're going to ruin your pen. So let's check how far I have to go. Okay, so about this, gonna go around all the edges with some sketchy lines. I'm not worried about down here because that's going to be covered up with the next row of petals, but I found it much easier to do the first round, the outlining, when the second round of petals isn't here yet. I'm not worried about overlapping here because I'm gonna go over with some modeling paste anyway, so So what I want to do next is adding some modeling paste. First just around and dry it again, and for that I need sort of a mask. just to make it a little bit more safe. Oh, actually I'm gonna cut first the handle so they don't catch on. And just to see what it looks like. Okay, put that back again. Should work. So I do a first layer just on the whole cover up the whole circle part. And now I'm not sure if it's gonna work, but I'll try it. No risk, no fun. I want some additional texture. This is actually a homemade stencil, just in case somebody is wondering about. I think that should work. I want some more raised areas. And every time you want really raised areas, it is important that you add quite a bit so you don't see the stencil at all. And I still can't see it still in some areas, so more. Okay, let's see if it worked. Cool, that's what I wanted. I'm gonna scrape off that as soon as I have taken off. Here we go. And yes, I know the color isn't right, but we're gonna change that later. I just want to save some of this material. So I'm gonna clean up my mess and we'll be back soon. My next step is I want to stamp the word sunflower along here, and I like to use the napkins, the layers which are not printed, so I think those blend the best into the background. So I just by the way, I did dry it with the heat gun slightly. It's not completely dried through, but at least as much that there is sort of a skin on top of the modeling paste. So I need to make sure that I have something. That's about the space I have for the word sunflower. Put that aside. And then let's see. So that's the room I have. And again, you barely can see it. I just make it a little bit darker for you, so you can see it too. That's about the space I have for the word. And I have this stamp set here, which is, I have no idea what kind of stamp set it is. Sorry guys. Just find something. You actually could also write it by hand, but I know a lot of people have problems with their handwriting, so why not use stamps instead? And I'm gonna grab my StazOn ink in black and my stamping pad, which is actually a piece of foam. So what I do, I start with the middle letter and position it there where I want it about. Where did I put my phone? So I made sure that my ink pad is well saturated, because I want some clean dark letters. So I did refill it before I started stamping. And also I give the ink some time to transfer. I don't press, I press firmly but not like a ball. But I give it some time to transfer. Voila. Set it a second aside to dry. Now I'm gonna tear it. Teared edges blend in better than cut edges. I'm gonna make life a little bit easier for me and cut off some parts. I hold the napkin really close between my thumbs so I don't tear accidentally into the stamped letters. Just take your time, step by step. That is pretty dry, so I'm gonna go again over with put that aside for the moment, I don't need it. I'm gonna go around the petals again from the second row. And also go along the inner circle. Again, not perfection is asked, but liveliness and wild lines. Our next step, we're gonna need the burnt umber to tint that, and we're gonna need a palette because I'm gonna water it down. Don't need much paint, just a tiny bit, but with water. And then we need a brush. I have here a little part where I didn't glue correctly, so let's take some sticky glue. Voilà. So I'm gonna grab some towel and wipe off from the top so that I have dark in the crevices. And heat set it. So I did heat set it a little bit and I made a little boo-boo. It wasn't quite dry here, so here I did remove some of the modeling paste, but yeah, it's okay. I still can work with it. I give it a little bit more time to dry now because it's still not dry underneath. There's just sort of a skin over the modeling paste. And where did I put my sunflower? Here it is. And I start adding my quote. So I decided to go over with some matte medium in the center part, just to break a little bit the shine, but I'm using at the same time, I'm using up the brown here. So my next step is gonna add some sort of a border, and again using the leftover brown and the matte medium mix, and see how it works. Just wanna darken the edges a little bit. So I'm gonna add some dots. I think this is a stencil from Heidi Swapp. It was like those three, it was paper at one point. Now it's all plastic from the paints I have used. I think it is a Heidi Swapp stencil. And I'm using one of those inexpensive cosmetic sponge to add the dots. And whenever you introduce a new color, it is always a good idea to add it somewhere else too. I have a whole bag of little ladybugs. I think they're plastic, no idea. Made in India, whatever. And don't ask me where I have them from. Those things just magically appears in my drawers. I have no idea where they're from. And I'm thinking about adding a little ladybug here. I'm probably gonna do first the edges and then let's try everything. So, to make the hanging thingy device, as I said, I'm going to use this wire, and I think I'm probably going to add some beads to the wire, just for fun, just because I can. So I need a little bit more. The first thing I'm going to do is making a little spiral. Here we go. You grab this piece and with your flat nose pliers and start spiraling. As many times as you want. Then it's rather soft, so I want to make sure that it stays the way. I'm gonna harden it with a hammer and a metal piece. It's not a really fancy hammer, it's really an old hammer from my dad, but I'm not doing jewelry here. And it is noisy. Okay, let's go through here. And let's bend it the way we want it. And to make it stay, I just simply add some zigzag here. Using a hammer again. Now I have to be careful that I don't hit the glass bead. Try to do it so that you can see it, which is the hard part. Usually I have it close to my body, but then you won't see a thing. And the bands are actually so that the bead doesn't glide too much around, and just for some fun shapes. My last step, and for that part you really have to be sure that it is dry and that it is firm. I'm gonna add some wax. It's from Pentart Brass. And I might even add some gold too. Like with every wax, if you polish it afterwards, it even gets better. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please give me a thumbs up, leave a nice comment and share on whatever social media you are on, so others can enjoy it too. Hope to see you soon somewhere online.